Hey everyone, welcome back to Unfolding the Stars, Star Goddess Tarot Readings. I have been missing in action for some time, for a little bit, and Spirit told me that it was time to get on. So many things have been changing, transforming for me. I've been through so many ups, so many downs, so many challenges, just a little bit of everything. I don't know exactly where Spirit wants to go with this video, so I decided to break out my White Light Oracle. I've been dealing, learning more about vibrations and learning more about, frequencies and whatnot. So let's see what frequency I am feeling today and see where Spirit wants to begin. Within this, past week that I have not been on here, I've been going through so many changes, so many transformations. As I have been following Spirit, following my journey, the most amazing, courageous things have been going on in my life. As I've been making my way, wanting to be the voice for the people, I finally got the opportunity to speak up and speak out. As my voice was finally heard, we're bringing in a difference. We're bringing in a shift. As I was preparing for the speech, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I knew that I had to be vulnerable. As I prayed and I have asked Spirit to help me bring healing to the world, Spirit was like, you're going to have to be vulnerable. And now, you've been used to making your YouTube videos. Now get ready, because your voice matters and you're going to be heard. So next thing I know, I did my report. Everyone got together. We were guiding each other through our strength, our courage, our stories. As we began to pull together, I had my report just beautifully put together. So last Sunday, as I spoke up for the homeless, it felt truly amazing to be vulnerable, to speak my story, to get my story out there in order for the world to connect with what homelessness means. I had to put my story out there. For the first card, we got Ishtar's Lion Gate 888. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit from the book on this one, see where this one wants to take us. So as I was getting out of my comfort zone, I was preparing. How many of you out there have been wanting to make a difference in the world, and, you've been giving it your all, and it just doesn't seem like anything is moving? Well, as I've been working on this for a few years, not even sure how to go about it, how I was going to bring changes to the world, what needed to get done, I was following my intuition, following the guidance of Spirit. So as I started following the guidance for the first card we got, your heart has a heightened connection with the higher realms of consciousness and light. A blessing, empowerment, and positive omen shall enter your world. Doors will open for you. Abundance and prosperity are headed your way. Take care of your heart. Ask for spiritual assistance, and it shall be granted. Something negative is going to transform into something very positive. So this is what's happening within my life. Right now, I'm at a major transformation. As I'm connecting my heart, as I've allowed my heart space to open, as I began to heal, Spirit also wants me to talk about the reason I had been off doing YouTube for a week or so. With all the changes and transformation, God has been putting me in position. As he was putting me in position, I got blessed with this amazing retreat. And within this retreat, it was a lot of heart healing, a lot of heart connection, a lot of, owning up to whatever wrongs that I've done, mistakes, whether that be stealing, whether that be whatever it was, it was a way to release, a way to continue to open up my heart space. So as I've been doing that, I've been getting connected to higher realms. When you're on the spiritual journey and you're learning about God, about Spirit, there's so many doors that open because there's so much knowledge out there that blows me away. You know what I'm saying? So as I have been standing in my power, not allowing any negative to weigh me down, a lot of negative's been going on within my home, within a lot, shifts are coming and changes are in the air. So as I have been going through the process and making the right steps on my spiritual journey. Spirit says, how many of us out there, we're on this journey to co-create with the universe, but we don't know how to go about it. All of a sudden, doors start opening, and we're used to just being human that we follow that road. So as I was on my retreat, I had also had a scheduled therapist appointment. I did not want to let my therapist down. How many of us out there, when we have meetings, we have what we need to get done, and we just don't want to let anyone down. This retreat was a once in a lifetime opportunity that door opened, and Spirit was like, it's time. You need to embrace this. So as I didn't want to let my therapist down, I was like telling them at the retreat, I'm going to have to be late an hour, but something inside me, my intuition was like, no, this is important. Being that I've been doing my therapy for years now, working really hard at the traumas and learning how to integrate everything within self. As I've been doing this, Spirit was like, I sat down, I meditated, I got out of my headspace, and I got some clarity. Next thing you know, Spirit's like, you got half an hour before the retreat starts again. Do your therapy. It's not about being part of the world. You got to pull yourself out now, because the healing that you're going to get, it goes a lot deeper. But when we're not strong enough to see the guidance from Spirit, back in the day, I would have missed that opportunity, and I would have went back and did my therapy. But being that I've been in therapy for so many years, and I've done the healing and, the journey that I have been on, Spirit said it was my time to trust myself, to trust my intuition, and to trust where I was being led, to trust my heart. As I began, that door opened, and it was a true blessing. As I, did my therapy, didn't let my therapist down, didn't let me down, didn't, let that feeling bother me. I didn't, at the same time, I didn't allow it to keep my blessings from me, because this retreat was the most amazing blessing that I've been a part of. It was, a 3-day retreat, and we still had we had like this bonfire, like we had so many cool things that they included me in, and it was the most amazing thing that I ever experienced. This was very powerful, very loving, compassion. It was teaching how to forgive, how to release, how to let go, how to love self, how to see things from a much higher perspective. As I was blessed with these opportunities, more abundance was arising to me, more prosperity was headed my way. So as I was not being part of the world, Spirit says, when we're having a lot of ups and downs, how many times do we jump in foot first and head first, and without even thinking? As I've been experiencing so many things going on around me, I had to pull myself back, and I had to be like, I need to take a few steps back. I need to clear my head. I need to listen to my heart, but listen to my head at the same time. I need to ask Spirit for guidance, for assistance. I'm going through a lot. And as I did that, Spirit was granting me everything that I needed from moment to moment. I have been guided with so much love. There's been a lot of negativity going on around, within my family dynamic. It's a lot of sadness, a lot of change, a lot of transformation. My family, my mother going behind my back again, and doing some really underhanded things. And it's been very eye-opening. I already knew how these individuals were. I already knew how my mom was, but she's taking the cake again. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm transforming as I'm taking in reality. You know what I'm saying? So let's see where we are going to go from here. So Spirit wants me to continue reading a little bit from this card. Spirit says, Ishtar is the queen of the night, a dark goddess of loss and letting go, but also a priestess of light who holds the key to renewal from suffering. And that's exactly what I'm going through. Going through this retreat, being able to get away from the phones, get away from the noise, get away from the world, go into my own sanctuary, my own quiet time, to be surrounded by so much beautiful energy. It was the most amazing thing. As I went through this retreat, it was like it was teaching us about loss and how to release and how to let go. It was teaching us that as we let go of things that we were scared to let go of, that we hold the keys to renewal from suffering. How many of us out there have been living or dealing with certain situations that you've been suffering with a very long time? I always knew that I've been suffering in my house for a long time. But once I began to really do the healing, I really saw the harm, the neglect, the abuse, the theft. I began to see everything that was surrounding me. And I really never realized how much negativity was really surrounding me, so much suffering. As my family is suffering, for some reason, it's like they want to see me suffer. I'm living in silence. I live in my own world because I decided to take the time to do the healing. As things are going up in smoke right now, I'm having faith and I'm having trust. I am having to understand that even though I was afraid to walk away from my family, I see how deep the abuse goes. Not only am I seeing how far my mom was willing to go to steal from me again, to leave me homeless, to not care whether I was coming or going. She was willing to do whatever to leave me out in the cold, and I didn't understand why. God started opening the doors and showing me what was going on. My brother, he's been showing me, how he really wasn't on my side, how all the love that I was pouring into him, that he could not reciprocate the same love, that he was on a darker level, a darker path. And I had to understand that who I thought was my brother, who I thought was my mom, that's not who they are anymore. Time has changed them. You know what I'm saying? So as I began to see all the suffering, I began to see that, they don't want to change. I began to see that all the hurt and everything that they've been wanting to bestow upon me, I'm having to finally stand up for myself. There's tower moments that are coming and hitting my family. I have been crying. I have been stressed out. I have been learning how to move forward as I've been following God's guidance. Spirit said, that he's finally had enough. He's had enough of me suffering. As I've been going on this journey, as I had this retreat and coming home and trying to figure out how to piece things together, not only did I get to see how my mom went behind my back to steal from me again, how my son, he was talking really poorly about me. I was, saging my house and I was behind the TV, and he didn't realize that I was in the living room and made some nasty remarks. Then my daughter, banging on my door, and just a lot of things that have been going on within their suffering. It's like it bothers them to see me happy. I can't help the fact that I'm done and I'm tired of the suffering. I don't want to live that way anymore. I've asked my daughter to come with me, and she's refused to come with me. My daughter's 18 and she's making these choices, and I love her, and I know at the end of the day, everything's going to be okay. But I'm just sad that my family is willing to stay stuck in suffering instead of be willing to transform and deal with what's really going on. As I've been going into the darkness, facing my shadow work, as this retreat was brought to me, Spirit says, how many of you out there have been thinking about getting away, thinking about a retreat, thinking about, some space? I've been afraid to travel out. I have a lot of friends that travel and do a lot of retreats, and they tell me how intense sometimes they are and what you need to pack and what comes about. So I was praying and I asked, Spirit, God, and I was like, I need a retreat. I want one, but can you bring me something close to home? Next thing you know, they brought me a retreat. And I was so excited because I got to get the feel of what a retreat means, what it meant to go within, what it means to really do that deep spiritual work within my Buddhism, what chanting really means, what the hungry ghosts represent, what the world is, like so many different things, learning about compassion, learning about, Chandra Jigmore and Kuan Yin. I've always had a connection with Kuan Yin, and understanding that, she was just the feminine aspect of Chandra Jig, compassion, and knowing that my connections with my ancestors go further back. I have been working with these angels and ancestors for quite some time. And now God says, I'm ready. I'm ready to learn more about who they are and why I had these connections. As I've been pursuing this, I've been pursuing who I am, how to go about my journey, how to be authentic, how to go into the darkness once again. As I began to go into the darkness, Spirit was like, are you ready? Spirit's been telling me that a tower moment was going to come and hit my family. So I've been ready. I've been prepared again. I already knew what it was about. And God was like, okay, we gave him strike one. We're going to give him 3 strikes. Let's see how that goes. The first strike, when she tried to take my money, God had me catch it. We spoke with the people and it was sent over to me and my daughter. Again, she tried to do it again, then we intersected it again for my daughter. And then she had to pay back a bounce check. Now, the third time, God was like, I'm not playing with you anymore. Like, you keep trying to take from your daughter. I'm not playing with you anymore. So as I began to go and do my taxes, everything went upside down, out of my hands. You could imagine her claiming my daughter, everything just spiraling out of control. As I came home and I told her, like, what did you do, Mom? Like, I'm going to lose you. Who knows what could happen? What are you doing? She laughed at me. She thought it was fun and games. I finally learned my lesson and I decided this is time for me to let this relationship go. Like, I'm seeing the true colors of everyone surrounding me and the hurt and the pain and the abuse and the trauma. It's like dealing with this has been nonstop. But how many of us have been so used to the abuse, so comfortable, so afraid to let go? We've had these people get in our minds for far too long. And, we don't believe that there's something bigger and better out there. I've learned that there's love for me outside of this home, and I'm just letting nature take its course. I'm just going with the flow. And this retreat has brought me the keys to, renewal from my suffering. Spirit says, she is relentless in her pursuit of the path to true inner freedom. She willingly surrenders her attachments and her identities, even separating herself temporarily from her loved ones with such boldness and confidence that she crosses into realms where others dare not to go. And that's what I'm doing. I'm pursuing my path to true inner freedom. As I was telling my mom, like, what are you doing? My mom was like, oh, you want to claim your daughter? And I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, she's my daughter. I've been taking care of her. At the end of the day, Mom, like, it's not about the money. I could lose you to jail. Like, what are you doing? You have been going and doing underhanded things, Mom. What are you thinking? As I'm seeing the trueness, I can't take it anymore. So I've been on the path to true inner freedom. Like I said, it's not about the money, as everything's been going on, Spirit and God was like, it's time. It's time you stand up for yourself. It's time that you be authentic. It's time that you be courageous. How many times has your mom went underhandedly, done so many things to you and left you without nothing? She wants to see you homeless. She wants to see you with nothing. And Spirit's like, it's out of your control, Joyce. Like, now it's in the hands of the universe. What she's done, karma's coming. What your family's done, karma's coming. You're willing to find that inner freedom. And I've been acknowledging all my wrongs. I've been, trying to make things right. I've been searching. Finally, I decided to surrender. As I did this retreat, I surrendered my attachments to my identities, to who I thought I needed to be, to that fear-based part of me. How many of us out there, we have different identities. It's like those different masks. One minute I'm happy and joyful. Next minute I'm sitting in that fearful mask. Next minute I'm sitting in that courageous mask. I finally had to say, I release and I let go. I'm learning what it means to sit in the emptiness, that I'm understanding nirvana. I'm understanding so many deep things that I could never understand before, but I couldn't do that unless I surrendered my attachments to everything, and that's including family. Spirit says there comes a point in our life, if you've ever seen that cartoon, The Avatar, and he has to surrender his attachments to his one little true love, and they're flying around the world on the bison, and he loves her, but he's got to surrender. And if it's meant to be, it'll come back at the end of the movie, like they do. They end up getting married and, having kids. It's really an amazing, cool thing. But as I learned to release attachments to everything, I had to understand that I have to be separated for some time from all my loved ones. I have to be bold. I have to be confident because I'm crossing into realms that others dare not to cross. Because when we're doing the shadow work, when we're willing to face what we've done wrong to other individuals, to self, what we've done to the world, when we're ready to be bold and courageous, hold our shame, our humility, our guilt, when we're ready to put it all out there, you know, that's when we're stepping into a whole new world, a realm of ups and downs and heartaches. If you've watched my videos, you know the struggles that come along with walking the spiritual journey. So I'm being bold and I'm done. You know, I've given everyone a final chance, and it's like everyone's still throwing their rocks and hiding their hands with the flow. Spirit also says she experiences vulnerability, and in that state discovers deep truth. And, you know, God wants me to... As all this heartache was going on, you know, I had to take a step back. I had so much going on. I had, you know, the retreat coming up. I had my speech that I was working on to get ready to be prepared. You know, I had all this other chaos going on within the home. I have so many other things and other projects that I've been working on that I had to slow my pace, and I had to pump the brakes. So as I began to pump the brakes, and I had to understand that vulnerability was gonna get me to where I needed to be, but not understanding what that meant. So as I was being vulnerable, I was writing up that speech, you know, at a time that people were trying to harm me, come at me, attack me, steal from me. I wanted my focus to be on the world, on healing, on my main purpose. Spirit says when we come from a loving, kind-hearted space, when we're not worried about the material world, when we're not worried about what others are doing to us, and we stay focused on what God put us to do, on what Spirit put us to do, when we become vulnerable to God, to ourselves, to the world, that anything can happen. I began to stay positive and hopeful. I knew that at the end of the day, even though I was scared, that God's Spirit was going to get me through this. So as I began to release, allow myself to still be vulnerable, I spoke live in front of 100 people, about 100 people. They had live streamed me and broadcasted to who knows where. You know, it was such an amazing feeling to speak up for other individuals for the first time, you know, making that big impact and making that bold statement, speaking my truth about my struggles, about when I lost my homes, when I was going through so much, you know. It felt amazing to get back to the world. So Spirit says, when you're going through tough times and struggles, pay no mind to those who are underhandedly behind your back trying to cause you harm. Stay open, stay vulnerable, stay focused, and stay on your path and what's true to you. And I did that. Man, being vulnerable, we got the best news. So as I was vulnerable, I got so much love, so much support, so much just everything that they posted, you know, my video here on YouTube. So it's floating out there, you know, I made a big impact and it was truly amazing. So Spirit says, you know, when we're going through struggles and we know that people aren't meaning us good, you know, stay vulnerable, but not to the wrong people. Be vulnerable with the ones that you know that are going to catch you. You know, and in that state, you do a lot of deep thinking and you discover a lot of deep truths. As I've been doing that, you know, doing the retreat, speaking up and speaking out for myself, speaking out for the homeless, making the impacts, as I've really been walking into rooms and making that powerful impact, you know, and being vulnerable about it, because it was scary to get up on that stage and read about my life, you know, but it was the most amazing feeling. And let's see where Spirit wants to go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use my Light Oracle. So yeah, as I was doing my retreat as well, this is a deck that was calling me to take with it. As I was learning to release, let go, reassurance of the golden light. And so as I was going through the retreat and learning how to release, how to let go, you know, that golden light, for the retreat, I would take time, you know, for our little lunch, and I would sit by this tree and I would talk, and we did some tarot readings together, and I'd get guidance. I'd get that reassurance of the golden light. It was spirit. It was God. It was my angels, my ancestors. It was all just showing me that I was on the right track. How many of you out there, you're following your intuition, you're going about your business. So many things are caking on and you're not sure which way to go. You're feeling torn. You feel like, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I got to get this done. And that's what I was feeling. But I had to pull myself back. I was up, I was down, I was experiencing a lot of emotions. This retreat brought up a lot for me. I took this retreat super serious. So I was allowing everything to come forth, to come up, so that way I could heal it. And then as I was excuse me, as I was doing that, God and spirit just shined down on me, and they showed me that they were there for me and not to have any worries. That even though things were feeling kind of dark inside, not to worry, because that golden light was surrounding me. Spirit says, when you take that time and you focus on other individuals instead of worrying about our own problems, and you let God handle it for us, the magic, the beauty that it brings. And that's what God did for me, as I knew what was going on in my home. Oh my gosh, Christ consciousness. This is the card that came out when I was under the tree during my retreat. So as I gave it up to God and I said, God, you have shown me so many blessings. You have brought me so far that there's no way that I cannot trust you. God is, I don't know, if you've watched my videos, and you followed my journey. But as I began to be more Christ consciousness, being more aware as this retreat took place, I was able to see things from a higher perspective, Christ consciousness. And it was the most amazing feeling. As I began to finally release what I was going through, and I said, God, I want to focus on other individuals. I want to focus on my speech. I want to focus on what this is, the money, all this stuff that they're doing. It doesn't even matter to me, God. And he was like, now you're getting it, Joyce. Now you're getting it. It's not about tit for tat. It's not about fighting. What they've done. Strike number 3, they're out. I'm going to handle this. But you need to continue with your path. What I need you to do is become more aware, more Christ consciousness. So as I've done that, I've been reading more of the Bible. God has been reaching out to me in so many different aspects in my spiritual world, through all the other religions, through everything. As I kept myself Christ consciousness, and I kept my head out of everybody's business, God has been blessing me, and so many doors are opening. I'm finding freedom within self, freedom from the emotional abuse, from everything that was holding me down, everything that I was fearful of. How many of you out there, it's like you're fearful to be in certain situations, you're tired of the situations, but when the time comes down to get away, it's like you're fearful of leaving the situation. I've struggled with that, but finally, Spirit said that he had to show me these big tower moments, because these individuals really meant me no good, that I was holding on to something that was never going to come true, that I was never going to get the love of my mother, that I was never going to get the love of my brother, that my kids were going to continue to attack me until I released and let go. They're adults. Like I said, my son's almost 26, my daughter's almost 25, my baby turned 18 and she's getting ready to go to college. It's like I had to finally understand that abuse is abuse. You know what I'm saying? And I've had enough. But Spirit had to show me that my fear was keeping me from making steps forward. And God was like, okay, Joyce, I'm going to hit you with the really big tower, and let's see how you deal with this. As God hit me with this tower, initiation by air, God was like, follow your intuition. I'm going to cover your eyes. I want you to feel your way through this. As I went through, as I had been learning to get out of my comfort zone, as I've been learning to stand up for self, as I've been understanding that doing the right thing isn't always the easiest thing, as I finally decided to start listening and following my intuition and on a deeper level, especially when it came to my family, I began to understand that I'm done being abused. So as I was blindfolded, I began to listen. I begin to use all my senses, and that's what's been getting me through. As I've been following my intuition, I'm on the right track. I am finally on the road to freedom. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm sorry if it's a little bit hard for me. Spirit is also saying, as I was blindfolded, as I was silent, my family, the individuals that were meaning to do me harm, to steal from me, they thought because I've been sitting in silence that I'm not fighting back, that I'm still here, that they thought that I was blind, that I wasn't going to see nothing, that I wasn't going to hear nothing. But Spirit, when you're on the spiritual journey and you have the connection that I do with God, He shows you everything. You don't got to be in the rooms that these individuals are in. You don't even got to be near these individuals, because you get the intuition, you get your downloads, your spirit guides, God. They are in the rooms that you are not present for, and the stuff that you need to hear, they bring back. So as they were silently stealing from me, God turned the tables as I was helping others, as I'm helping others transform to believe in themselves, to help other individuals understand that, there's more help. We need to give more help to the world. As I was helping other individuals and I'm changing and transforming when my mind was not on the money and these individuals were doing me wrong, the Spirit was like, okay, you're coming from a space of love. This is what's going on. And I was like, okay, God, all right, I hear you. You like, I just want to focus. I don't even want to deal with that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, as they were stealing, doing things behind my back, silently thinking that I wouldn't notice, just because I'm kind and I'm silent doesn't mean that I'm stupid. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I ended up going and having, doing my taxes like I was supposed to. And at the end of the day, the tables got turned, and I'm not really sure what's in store for my family, because God's had it, Spirit's had it. So everything is changing and transforming. But I have faith, because at the end of the day, it's not the money. It wasn't anything that mattered to me. It was about making a difference, getting my voice heard, getting the people's voices heard. And in the midst of that, in the midst of caring about other individuals, God is taking care of me, baby. Let me tell you, can't talk about it just yet. People watch my videos and Spirit's like, certain things we got to keep on the down low. It's good to keep y'all on your toes. And so Spirit's bringing me in so much magic, so much blessings. When we're struggling and we're going through so many hardships, keeping the faith, keeping the belief is hard. But like I said, there's nothing that can make me turn my back on God, on Spirit, because He's caught me when nobody else could, what He's done for me. And when everything is ready to be revealed, when the magic has busted open, because God has given me that key. God gave me that key as I've made the action steps. I have been tired. I have been fatigued, but I've been fighting my corner silently. And that's the best possible way. When people think that they got the upper hand on you, when there's, thinking everything's all good, when they take your silence for a weakness, they need to understand that, we're not here to fight back harshly. I'm not here to do you any harm, but I am going to stand up for the truth. I am going to speak the truth, and I'm going to make the right steps, and I'm going to make it right. As I went and did what I had to do, everything was out of my hands, but it was up to me. And Spirit was like, are you going to make the choice? Are you going to, continue the battle with this, or what are we going to do? These people have stolen from you. They've done this and that. Are you going to allow them to do it? It's time for you to stand up for yourself, but we're going to do it silently. And I was like, what? I was like afraid. Spirit says, how many of you out there have been that giver, give. And it comes to a point where they make you feel like you have no right. My mom, throughout the time that she's been in my home, that she's been turning my kids against me, stealing from me, lying, betraying, abusive, as she's been doing all of this, she was drilling it into my head, trying to make me feel that I had no right to being a mother, that I was not a good mother. As she turned my kids against me and I'm living in the same home, it's like I was getting abused and attacked, and she thought it was funny. But at the end of the day, God was like, enough's enough. She's an adult, and look at how she's still going. We're going to fix things. We're going to have to take some actions. You know what I'm saying? So past life activation. So if you're on the spiritual journey and, there's a lot of past life activations that go on. There's a lot of past trauma, that we need to release, that we need to let go, the past life activation. So Spirit says when we're going through hardships, when we're in family dynamics like mine, when we have family that doesn't care for us, family that is just envious, family that's angry, family that's just not on our side, we got to understand that we can't let them keep us down. When I saw them hurting and going through so much, I tried to help them. And finally, I had to understand that I can't help everyone. So as I was behind closed doors, as I've been sitting in my own room, my silence, not letting them keep picking at me. I'm letting them be abusive on the other side of that door, but I refuse to open that door and feed back into it. So as I'm behind closed doors, they want to get under my skin, and that's just not working. I'm not going to go back to the negative. I'm not going to go back to the fighting. I'm not going to go back to that. Spirit says, how many of you out there have had people just antagonize you and you just get in that depression state and you can't seem to pull yourself out? I did that for years before I got healed, when people would put me down or do the things that my family would do now. Oh my God, I was spiraling out of control. That's when I was drinking, using drugs, never understanding where all the pain was coming from. They would activate me in a negative way. I'd go back to the darkness. Well, they were hoping that they could activate me and make me turn back into a bad person. And that's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So instead of letting all their negative rub off on me, I'm using that to fuel my fire, and I'm co-creating with God, with the universe, to do better for the world. So all they're doing is activating me in a good way, because nobody understands. I'm that lion. I'm that Leo. When there's a fire lit under me, when tough times arise, that's when I work my best. You know what I'm saying? Under pressure, baby. That's me. I work best under pressure. And if people really knew me, they'd understand that no matter how much they keep trying to press this girl, all they're going to do is continue to make me shine. I'm grateful for the hardships. I'm grateful for all the trauma, because it's activating me to get to be the beautiful person that I am today. For the next card, we got Star Child. So yeah, I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right thing. I'm following God. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of Spirit, and I'm on the right path. Spirit says when you're loving, you're caring, and you're giving, and you're putting back into the world, when you're not focused on material gain, wealth, on getting even and getting back at other people, when you're truly focused on what you're here to do, when you finally realize what Star Child means to you, when you're going through, the activations, the ascensions, when you're going through the dark night of the souls, when you're learning about the chakra systems, when you're learning about the two brains, the bodies, when you're learning about everything, when you finally change and transform and take that opportunity, when you are finally able to be struggling with crazy struggles where you just don't know where your life is going to end up the next day, and you can still be sitting in that storm so peacefully, which I am able to do today. That's how I know that I am that true star child. Spirit says that there's a star out there with each and every one of our names out there. We just got to look. We got to find it. That's our North Star. That's who we are. We are the stars. And I finally own that. I am that star child. I am a child of God. I am a child of Spirit, and I am proud of who I am, no matter what anybody thinks of me. And at the end of the day, as I was speaking, talking about speaking out and making that, the talk that I did, it was so exciting. A friend of mine, she sent me this link, and the community, the people decided to put more funds into the cause that, that I was speaking about, that me and a couple other people talked about. We made that impact, and my friend sent me. So I know that I'm a star child, that God is leading me, because we got funds, baby. Funds for the homeless programs and more community things. I'm so excited. It's hard for me to talk about, but my friend had just messaged me, and it was amazing. Invitation to connect. So yeah, Spirit's inviting us to connect with them, any time of the day, any time of night, no matter where you are, connect. I'm always connecting, whether I'm driving in my car, if I'm walking into stores and I'm still talking to Spirit in my mind. No matter where I am, I always find a way to connect to God. So God says, he's inviting us to talk, to hang out, to play, to get to know God. When you get to know him, when you go through the years of the struggles, I've been through so much trauma, so much abuse, so much neglect. I have gone through so much self-harm, so much self-neglect that I never thought that I would make it out. I stand here today with so much honor and so much gratitude in my heart for all the blessings, for all the trying times that I have been going through, as Spirit's been leading me out of the darkness and into the light. God is blessing me with so many opportunities and so much magic, so many things that are coming to fruition. And I have been connecting on such a higher level as I have gotten into, as I did this retreat. More blessings were pulled into me, and it's been helping me to connect with Spirit more intensely. The vibrations, the people, the individuals, more retreats that are coming my way, more doors. This is what awaits us. I know it's hard to believe. I was one of those that I was nearly on my deathbed. I had been through so many ups and downs. And at the end of the day, I finally realized that nothing, not even myself, I wanted to keep me down. I wanted to get up. And when I finally realized that I was somebody and I mattered, this is what my world looks like today. I sit in so much gratitude, so much love, so much light, so much experience, so much wisdom, so many people that are coming my way, connecting with God, with Spirit, finding my true path, my North Star, my true purpose. I can't tell you how wealthy I feel inside, how wealthy I am, no matter what situation I'm sitting in. So let's see. For the next card, everyone, we've got, let's see where Spirit wants to end this. All right. Spirit wants me to finish reading The Lion. All right. So Spirit says, Ishtar is the capacity of the soul to integrate our experiences after reaching the greatest depths of suffering. She emerges and is reinstated upon her rightful throne with even greater wisdom. And that's what's happening. I'm taking my rightful place. God is finally placing me up, He's holding me up. It's like with so much love, God says, that I haven't been walking alone, that He's been carrying me. And I can tell you, He really has. The blessings, everything. When I can unfold and let you all know how deep this journey's been, it'll make more sense. So let's see. So yeah, Spirit says we've got to go through a lot of suffering in order to emerge as that strong, confident lion. There's so much suffering that we go through, but we got to walk through the fire to heal. Don't stand in the fire and wither away. Walk through the pain. Acknowledge the pain, see what's hurting you and get your way out, make your way. And that's the only way through. So Spirit is saying here, she emerges and is reinstated upon her rightful throne with even greater wisdom. And I am, I'm sitting on my own throne. I'm taking back my self-love, my self-respect. I'm following the guidance of God, Spirit, and I'm moving along within my journey. I understand, and I'm taking that wisdom that I no longer need to be mistreated anymore. As hard as it's been for me to get out of this situation, I'm done. And I don't deserve to be abused anymore. And that's the great wisdom that I'm rising to within self. And Spirit says spiritual power and compassion. Like I said, I've been learning about heart compassion and the Heart Sutra. This is what I learned. And this is what my retreat was all about. So, and the compassion with Kuan Yin and Chen Rejig and all of that, you know what I mean? So Spirit says in a reading, she is a guardian and symbol of resurrection. You shall rise again. Those who have felt as though their identity or any other marker of security has been torn away from them are her children, or any other marker of security been torn away from them are her children. They will find their way back to peace and prosperity under her auspices. So that's what I'm doing. God's telling me not to worry, that even though our family, that there's this big tornado hitting, you know what I'm saying, because of the adults, and my poor children, you know, they're caught in the fire of this. As I had asked my mom to stop, to pump the brakes, that with her trying to attack me, that she was hurting her grandchildren. She was hurting everyone around, you know, with certain family members of mine not caring. Now they're starting to see that it's affecting the grandchildren. You know, my kids are going to get hurt in the whole process of what's happening, because my kids have this close bond with my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I worry about my kids. I've been very worried and sad. I've been very everything because of what's coming, the storms, you know, towards my family. But God's been telling me that my kids are going to be okay, that even though they're struggling, that certain individuals need to go along their way in order for my kids to find their path back to self. How many of us out there have certain family members or friends, people out there that just beat us down, put negative in our hearts, you know, try to turn us against self, make us hate ourselves, you know. They don't want to show their hands, so they want to plant seeds of doubt and create all this nonsense because they believe that we're weak, you know, we're that one person that we used to be. I'm no longer naive, I'm wise. And God says, as long as we step up and do the right thing, we're showing our kids the right way to be. Even though everything is up in smokes and I don't know what direction things are going, God has told me, God has shown me that my kids will be okay, that we're all going to make this out. Certain individuals are getting their karma and things are going to happen and go down. But at the end of the day, God is saying, you know, not to worry, that, you know, things will be okay. They will find their way back to peace and prosperity. The Spirit says, if you have been suffering, this oracle indicates an end of the struggle of imminent. You shall be restored with so much more than you have lost. And that's what's happening as I'm going throughout this journey, you know, having to release my family, having to release everything, having to let go of everything. And I'm done. I'm letting it all go. Not wanting anything in return. I don't care about money. I don't care about anything. What I'm getting in return, what I'm getting back is love, self-love. I'm getting back self-respect. No longer am I going to be abused. I'm getting clarity. I'm going to be able to heal physically, emotionally, fully, spiritually. I'm going to be able to finally, within health-wise, my health is going to get back to normal. Like, so many things that I'm finally coming up on that feels so good. Spirit says, how many of you out there have gone through so many struggles, you know, and you feel like walking away is the wrong thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do. Trust me. I know. Having to walk away from my adult kids, having to walk away from my whole family, having to walk away from those who already threw me away was the hardest thing. Even though they threw me away a long time ago. Accepting that it's done and me saying enough is enough, even saying enough to the abuse, is hard for me because I've always taken the abuse and I'm finally done. I'm proud of myself because I'm standing up for self. At the end of the day, no home, no nothing, no money, no nothing is worth living in pain and suffering and sorrow. At the end of the day, when you finally have that faith and that belief in God, when you finally heal, God makes a way. He saved me and he's still saving me every day. And I couldn't be happier. Spirit says, where else am I? Ishtar is depicted in the Queen of the Night relief that dates back over 4,000 years from ancient Babylon, which was located in the lands of present-day southern Iraq. She is a bird. She is a bird woman priestess with talons and wings, flanked by owls and lions. She holds sacred tools. A rod and ring in her hands, is bejeweled and naked, symbolizing her power and freedom. Her symbols are the gate of the 8-pointed star and the lion. She is considered the goddess of the planet Venus, Venus of love. But the star Sirius is also sacred to her. Its rise each year marks her ancient from the dark realms, which ensures prosperity and good fortune for the year ahead. Her jewels and tools represent her great power and effectiveness. The star represents her higher consciousness and loving wisdom, and are a sign of great blessing for your life, indicating prosperity, peace, healing, and love. Oh my God. So yes. So this is what God has been bringing me, as I haven't strayed away, as I'm not fighting back, as I'm just done being abused, as I finally had to see a lot of harsh truths. I'm taking my tools with me and I'm going to move along with my journey. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and grab all the cards, get this together, and see where Spirit wants to end this on. Yeah, I hadn't gotten on in a while. I needed some space. Like I said, I've been learning how to prioritize and just get things going at a good, normal pace. So, Ishtar, Lion's Gate. So Spirit says, remember, be that lion, be courageous. As I've been going through so many struggles, as I was always that baby lioness and I always let everybody use and abuse me. When individuals thought that this courageous lion, that I was that little baby lioness, sitting in silence, my roar was louder than I ever could imagined, as I've been letting God handle this, as God's been handling this and just guiding me to focus on the people, on what's really important, on the world. The lioness within me has been roaring the loudest that I've ever heard, and it's the most beautiful silent roar that I've ever felt in my life. That vibration, that feeling of not tit for tat, not fighting back, just letting God handle my battles by seeing the truth, by helping other individuals and seeing that my voice is making a difference. Man, my roar has never been louder in such a silent space, if that makes any sense to you. Reassurance of the golden light. So when, remember, when you're feeling like things are falling apart and you don't know where to go, continue to pray, continue to cleanse your space, as I've been doing. Don't let yourself be surrounded by negative individuals. Pull yourself away. Spirit also does that. When there's negative individuals and we're showing Spirit that we're trying to do the right thing, you'll notice that Spirit creates blocks, and certain individuals cannot enter your space. You know what I'm saying? So Spirit says, reassurance of the golden light. All you got to do is pray, call upon your passed on loved ones, your angels, your ancestors, ask for guidance. Look at how it shows here, that face, the guardian. Every time I pray, my angels and my ancestors hear me. I'm always protected. I'm safe. I'm loved. It took me years to understand that somebody was truly on my side when I felt alone my whole life, when I believed that certain individuals were the ones for me. At the end of the day, they were the enemy. At the end of the day, my one true friend, the one true love was God, was Spirit. Finding love for myself. God helped me to fall in love with myself. And I have never been more sure of who I am and more sure of what God can do. That golden light that shines down on me every day is the most amazing feeling. Living in Christ consciousness has been the most eye-awakening, the most amazing feeling that I could ever experience in my life. Becoming aware that everything is one, becoming aware of other individuals' hurts and pains, becoming aware that, that everybody is hurt, and in order to see things from a higher level and not hurt other individuals, you got to dive in, you got to start finding a way to really get to know yourself, get to know God, get to know Spirit, whatever form that is for you, and become more aware, because when we're more aware and we're willing to do the healing for self, then we're being able to come from how God sees us, how God sees the world. Spirit sees the world from love, compassion, understanding, not allowing those to abuse, hurt, and do us dirty. We got to learn to forgive, release, let go, not let them back, but understand that, when you're finally finding God, you come from a space of love, respect, and that's what I'm doing, you know? And certain individuals were really going behind my back and lying about me, stealing, doing a lot of things that they thought I wasn't going to hear. When you're in that spiritual world, it's like when you're doing for others, when you don't think about yourself, the most amazing is, look at how I'm blinded here, my angels and ancestors, what I didn't see as I was getting taken advantage of, as they were thinking that they could steal from me and do me dirty. All my angels and ancestors were floating around, you know, as these individuals thought, oh, look at the beautiful butterflies. They're just butterflies. At the end of the day, it was my angels and ancestors in rooms that I was not in, that I was blinded to, you know, that I was not hearing. So as I followed my intuition, God was giving me the vibrations through the airs, through the wind, through when me and these individuals would cross paths or be in the same rooms, I'd get that energy, the vibrations, and I'd be able to tell what's a lie, what's this, what's that. So, you know, that's why I'm learning about all the vibrations and all that I'm co-creating with the universe, because I don't need to, I can be blindfolded and still see where I'm going. You know, I've got my third eye. I've got that, my intuition, the guidance. So nothing can ever be hidden. The truth, you know, lies will always come to the light, the past life activation. So Spirit says, when people are antagonizing you, when people are doing you wrong and trying to hold you down, don't go back into your past traumas, you know, don't go into patterns that you used to do and start thinking negative about yourself. Use this to fuel the lion within you, that courageous part of you, to get up and continue to keep moving. Don't fall back into the negative patterns. Don't go back. Don't open that door to the past. Leave the past where it is, because I'm not looking back. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done with the abuse. I'm getting wise. I'm getting freedom, and I'm ready to just say enough's enough. So no longer am I allowing them to keep me in fear, keep me locked up, keep me a prisoner, think that they can still and talk horrible things, and just so much that's going on. Instead of allowing them to trigger me the way they used to and make me feel bad about myself and want to self-harm myself, I'm using it to fuel my beautiful fire to help more individuals. And I'm grateful for the traumas. I'm grateful for the heartaches. I'm grateful for everything, because at the end of the day, I love my family, and I'm just grateful that I learned my lessons years ago and I was able to grow, change, and transform. And I'm grateful for all the hardships that my family brought to me, because I would have never learned what was really going on behind closed doors. I would have never known how to love myself, how to grow, how to let go, how to not care what other people thought about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm really grateful through all my struggles in life, no matter how crazy they were. They brought me to who I am today. You know what I'm saying? I am that star child. All my ups, my downs, my addictions, my non-addictions, my everything that I've ever experienced in my life brought me to who I am today. The tears, the pain, the heartache, you know, the trauma, the discord, the chaos, the joy, the excitement, you know, the pleasures in life, everything that I have ever experienced, you know, throughout all the planets, the transitions, the years, the past lives, the future lives, throughout everything that's held within our DNA, our chakra systems, down to who we are, comes down to one thing. You know, we are that star child. We're a child of the universe, child of the world, a child of God, a child of spirit, you know? When we finally understand that everything is one, that we are the trees, we are the water, we are the tears, we are the pain, we are joy, we're the snow, the clouds, the rainbows, you know what I'm saying? When we understand that everything is one, when you understand that we are all a star, you know what I'm saying? When we're ready to embrace the pain, the trauma, and heal, and finally say, I am that star child, I'm ready to do what I was born to do. You know, because all of us, we have a journey, we have a purpose, there's a reason. Some are ready and some are not. But accept us and accept those for who and what we are and who they are. Don't try to change anyone. We all have our own time. Do you know what I'm saying? We all have our own time for our journeys, when we're ready to change and if we're not. But remember, we are all a beautiful star child, and we all have a purpose. We're all authentic. Invitation to connect. So Spirit's inviting you all to connect. I know that it's tough to get out there and start a connection with God, with Spirit, because like I said, for me, I didn't want that. Being raised in my churches the way I was when I was young, and it was a crazy experience. I was never one that never thought I could have the connection that I have today with spirit. But the only reason I was able to find it is because finally, after all the hardships, after believing that God left me to die, after he turned his back on me, little did I know I was the one who turned my back on him. You know what I mean? Having the faith, the belief, understanding that everything happens for a reason, and really taking that invitation to connect with God was the best thing I ever did. I accepted it. I took that invitation and I was blessed. I mean, to be welcomed by God, by spirit, to be shown the way. I'm glowing with so much love, respect, and honor. Like I said, it's hard for me to not be able to speak about what's been going on, but Spirit says, eventually everything's going to come to fruition. So remember, be that lion. Don't let anyone dim your light. Understand in the trials of hardships, we're going to make it through. There's always going to be struggles. There's always going to be ups and downs. But understand that you just learn how to maneuver, learn how to work your way. And as you're doing the right thing, following your soul's purpose, looking out for other individuals, not worried about the wrong things, you're going to see when you surrender it all and you let it go and you give it to God, you give it to spirit, how God handles your enemies and God handles the situations, gets you out of danger and moves you out of the way. And like God says, you will not, when someone's doing good for other individuals and God sees that you're doing harm to that person, God's like, no, I'm going to take care of you, baby girl. So God's like, it's your time, Joyce. You've been doing and doing and doing, and now I'm giving you more downloads, more wisdom, more classes, more people, more adventures, more doors, more keys, more love, more excitement, more joy. And this is what you get, Joyce, because you surrendered the need to fight back. You surrendered the need, money, whatever didn't matter to you. You were worried about what was really true to your heart. You stayed true to your path. And God, my angels and ancestors are celebrating me. And let me tell you, standing up for myself was a really hard decision to make. It was out of my hands anyway, you know what I mean? But I had another point where I could have taken another route. But God was like, no, I warned them, 3 strikes, they're out. Now they're mine. And I was like, oh my God, seriously? So I'm getting ready. Like I said, as I'm going within and I'm figuring things out, things are only going to get better from here. So thank you all for being here with me today, everyone. Love and light, everyone. Take care.